Dear Diary, unfortunately I suffered my first defeat at Arsenal in an error-ridden 2-1 defeat against Bayern in the Champions League. Apart from that though, things have been going great, including most recently in our first game of the EFL Cup when beating Birmingham 3-0. That sets up a tie against Hull City next round, a good chance for the rotation players to impress again. But before we, for lack of a better word, focus on that, we have to try and get back on track in the Champions League against Juventus. I'm looking for a more solid performance and at least a point to get on the board before some slightly easier looking fixtures. Plus, there's also the small matter of a North London derby to take care of first, away at Spurs. I mean, it's Spurs. Anything but 3 points will be disappointing, even with an informed Tomiyasu out for a few weeks with a hernia. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 82 of FMOE here on Shaun Does FM with Arsenal. I hope you are doing well and coming up today to start off a new week of the series here on the channel. Two big games first up. It's our first North London derby here at Arsenal as we do take on Tottenham away from home. Hopefully can stay at the top of the Premier League table, and off the back of that we'll look to pick up our first points in the Champions League phase as we host Juventus. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and have been enjoying this series here on the channel, make like Akon and smack that subscribe button as well as turn on that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we've just played the one game since the episode at the end of last week. It included our first game in the league phase of the Champions League. Unfortunately, that one did not go to plan against Bayern Munich. Also, that 3-0 win there over Brighton in the Premier League. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Thankfully, Coop Miners did get back on track in terms of penalty taking wise in that next game where we did play Birmingham in our first one of the EFL Cup this season in the third round. We were 2-0 up when he did come on and slotted away a penalty with 10 minutes to go, but thankfully, with a fairly heavily rotated team, we did pick up yet another comprehensive win domestically, so it does mean we are through to the fourth round in that competition and we take on a team in Hull City we should be beating quite comfortably these days. Hull City, I believe, are all the way down in League One, and indeed that is the case. That should be a team that we can beat, even with a pretty heavily rotated team in a competition that the board do not care about, but so far we are getting quite a kind draw to give some of those rotation players a bit of game time in that EFL Cup. But first up today, we do take on Tottenham. They have just been a little bit up and down so far in their season. As you can see, some quite mixed results there, albeit they have had to take on some quite good teams in amongst that, like Chelsea and Liverpool, but currently 12th on the Premier League table these days. Vitor Pereira is in charge, having replaced Ruud van Nistelrooy at the end of last season. Of course, Ruud van Nistelrooy did get sacked by Tottenham, and we will see him in the second game of today's episode because somehow he has done a Roberto Martinez and levelled up to the Juventus job. But given the way that we have started off the Premier League this season, hopefully we can pick up some points here away from home and ideally a win as well, albeit Tottenham are predicted to be doing slightly better than they currently are on the league table, and only a few days off the back of that, we do get back stuck in to the Champions League off the back of that loss against Bayern at the end of last week, and we do take on Ruud van Nistelrooy's Juventus. They will be playing a 4-3-3, obviously, with us not going to Italy in the save, much like Bayern. We have not loaded up the Italian leagues for this one, but apparently not quite as strong an opposition as Bayern Munich, so it might be a chance here for us to bounce back at home. Only 4.5 stars reputation, which is a little bit surprising. Some decent players there in the likes of Chiesa, Neves and Locatelli in the midfield in particular, but hopefully I do think overall our squad depth at Arsenal might be a little bit stronger, just looking at that first 11 there for Juventus. They did play in their most recent game, albeit that was against Copenhagen, so no doubt they did rotate their team maybe just a little bit for that one, and we'll see how we do get on. Hopefully get some points on the board so we can get back up in one of those automatic qualifying spots for the latter stages of that Champions League competition, bounce back from that loss to Bayern Munich. But we are going to have to do that without one of our best players so far since we have joined here at Arsenal. That is because Takahiro Tomiyasu, who had a blinder in that game against Brighton, a goal and 2 assists, he has got a hernia. He is going to be out for 3 weeks with that. I think it's actually 2 to 3 weeks, but no doubt it will be toward the latter end of that. So he'll be missing for the next couple of episodes potentially. So it does mean we're a little bit weaker in that right back slot, albeit some decent backups in the likes of Wilfred Singo, who of course the game did suggest should be starting over Tomiyasu anyway. And it does mean that in the domestic games, that Yannier Grass, the young Colombian wingback, can make his way onto the bench. We are going to have to do something a little bit different though for the Champions League, because of course he is not registered for that competition, but quite a promising player. Hopefully can give him a little bit of game time while Tomiyasu is out, but hopefully we can start off today and maybe keep our unbeaten run to start off the Premier League going, albeit this might be a tough one going away to take on Spurs in their fancy new stadium. We'll come back shortly with our team sheets and hopefully pick up some points here in the North London derby. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode, our first North London derby here at Arsenal. There are Tottenham, very interesting. No Harry Kane, so maybe he's getting a little bit old and not quite as good as he used to be in the save. Of course, those changes it right back for us, but also Zinchenko over Tierney, who's only recommended for 60 minutes, seeing as he's coming back from his injury, and also Martinelli quite injury prone, so Trincao will start on the left wing, but hopefully we can still pick up some points here in this North London derby. And just shy of the 5-minute mark, the first highlight here is a corner to Tottenham, but thankfully Bamba will head that one away, but Heung-min Son now does have the ball on the edge of the box, but thankfully Coop Miners will clear that one, but they are still on the attack here from that clearance. Adoyi just inside the byline plays that one all the way back to Tiate. Now it's João Gomez, of course, at Wolves in real life. Now Illich nearly gets the ball pinched off him there by Coop Miners, and then we nearly get it back there, but now Illich is through on goal, but thankfully scoops that one right into the path of Ramsdale. So a good early chance there for Tottenham, but thankfully we do hang on. You'll be able to see there we are playing on a balanced mentality. That was a poor pass there, I think, from Trincao, and yet again Spurs with a good chance, but thankfully this time Ramsdale pulls off a very good save on the effort from Son, and then also a header by one of the Tottenham players, but they are certainly on the front foot here early, but we cling on to this 0-0 inside the first 10 minutes, and off the back of that, it is a free kick in their favour. Romero gets his head on the end of that one. It clips the top of the crossbar. Still 0-0, but Tottenham all over us in this first 20 minutes. And just shy of the half-hour mark, we might finally get a highlight here in our favour. It's a throw-in inside the final third. Singo tries to pick out Jesus there inside the box, loops that one over for Singo, and somehow that's beaten Costa in goal. And with our first attacking highlight of this game, we go 1-0 up. And if I was a Tottenham manager, I'll be feeling like I've been FM'd at the moment, because so far in this game, we have done next to nothing, have really been under pressure. That header too is from a fair way out, but just loops far enough over Costa. He can't make a save, and we somehow go 1-0 up just shy of the half-hour mark. And that is half-time in this North London derby. We are very fortunate here to be 1-0 up. That one shot that we did have somehow found its way beyond Costa, thanks to that header from Singo. Just before then, Heung-min Son did go off with an injury. It does feel like with this balanced mentality, much like it was against Bayern Munich, not quite as attacking as we usually are, albeit our assistant did actually recommend a cautious mentality. So I suppose if we are winning, we may as well keep going with this one. We're going to make one change at half-time. We will bring on Kamara in place of Bamba, having just picked up a yellow card. We'll just adjust a few opposition instructions here, but to be fair, not playing that well, but we are in front. Hopefully we go a bit better in the second half. We'll get it back underway. Still with that 1-0 lead from our only shot so far in this game, and now we are on the attack early here in the second half, albeit Singo does give the ball there to Gomez, and now he's picked up an orange injury, but thankfully we win that back. Trincao unleashes one from outside the box. That one just goes wide of that top left corner. So we are still 1-0 up. And up to the hour mark, we're going to make some more changes at this time with both of our wingers only going okay out there. We've got Trincao and Saka on an average rating, so Carvalho can come on for Saka so far. Very hit or miss since we have Joy when he's on. He is certainly on his game, so we'll bring on Carvalho, and also Martinelli, despite being quite injury prone, can come on for Trincao, and we'll see if we can grab a cushion goal in this last half hour. And just inside the last 20 minutes of this game, we have picked up a few yellow cards since you were last here, and now we try and head that ball away, and Martinelli might be able to do something here on the counter-attack. Can we absolutely burgle a 2-goal lead here at Spurs Stadium? Unfortunately, Pozzo, though, does win that ball back for Tottenham. We put them under a little bit of pressure, but they do keep the ball, albeit Saliba will win that one in the air. And Tez Gill, of course, the player we did try and sign to fulfill a homegrown requirement, but instead Tottenham did hijack the deal. Hopefully he has an absolute shocker, but did win that ball back there off of Odegaard. But since then we have won it back. Now Martinelli does just get in behind. It's a tight angle and a shot there, does get blocked. It goes out for a corner. Also Zinchenko now has picked up a yellow card, so we might make a few changes off the back of this corner taking place, but maybe we can grab a cushion goal, but unfortunately can't win that ball in the air, and Ward-Prowse there does get in the way of Carvalho. So I think we can bring on Kieran Tierney here for Zinchenko on that yellow card, seeing as the other two players on a yellow have come off the bench. And also, we do have Odegaard on a red as well. So our last substitution, Fabio Vieira, can come on for him, still holding a 1-0 lead with just under 15 minutes left. And very shortly off the back of those last couple of substitutions, it is now a counter-attacking chance here for Tottenham off the back of a long clearance. And Elise here does get in behind, just shakes off Zinchenko, but thankfully Ramsdale there with a decent save at his near post, and the corner is not going to take place. Still 1-0 up as we head in to these last 10 minutes, and now it is a goal kick in our favour as we do look to play out from the back. Good touch there and pass from Vieira. Interesting tackle there from Fiarte, and thankfully we do deal with that off the back of what did look like a slightly threatening attack off the back of losing that ball. But now Pelé switches this one out to Singo, who so far has had a good game, the goal scorer, and what has pretty much been a very average performance. Now Carvalho, right on the edge of the box. I think that one might have just been outside, but we are going to go upstairs here for a VAR check. Was that a penalty? I suspect not, and indeed it was no penalty. We'll see if this free kick is going to get shown as Ward-Prowse does get booked, and indeed they will show the free kick. Vieira goes far post. Martinelli forces a good save there out of Costa, so still 1-0 up with just under 10 minutes left. And we are entering injury time in this game now. We are clinging on to this lead for now, and we have a late chance here potentially to make it 2-0, which would be pretty harsh on Spurs, but we don't mind that, of course. Being at Arsenal these days, Coop Miners tries to keep the ball here down this right-hand side. Singo will pick out Pereira, receives it right back, and hopefully we just hold on to the ball here for the dying stages of this game. Coop Miners plays that one back to Saliba. Jesus back there for Pereira. Poor pass though, looking for Martinelli, and Tez Gill was on the ball. Good slide tackle, but then Jesus gives that one to Ramiro, so now it's less than 1 minute left. Basuma plays that one up for Illich, and now Evan Nilsson does get in behind here. What can he do? It's Illich, it's Tez Gill from outside the box of all the players. It was the one whose deal to us got hijacked from Tottenham. Somehow Ramsdale's got beaten there. That did look like a shot he potentially should have saved, and of all the times to concede, it's when we've probably been at our best during this game based on that match momentum. But Emre Tez Gill comes and bites us for really the second time so far this season. We went positive late. It did not matter. To be fair, a draw in that game, probably a fair result, because as you can see, we were very, very average. Our poorest performance so far of the season, but we did hold the lead for most of that game, just lost it late, thanks to, of all the players, Emre Tez Gill, who I did try and sign as a homegrown nation player. But of course, Tottenham did hijack that deal back in our first episode when we were making our way through that transfer window, but overall not too disappointed with a point from that game when you do look at the stats, but still disappointing as we didn't hold on to that lead in injury time. It does mean now that some teams behind us can try and catch us up here in the likes of Aston Villa. They could actually go above us with that game in hand, and Man City and Liverpool could catch us up, but it's our first drop points of the season, and it does come in the North London derby. Did not play very well, but we still get a point out of that one. Hopefully perform much better when we come back for our next game as we try and get back on track in the Champions League as we host Juventus. And back at the Emirates, here are our team sheets for the second game of the Champions League phase. Just 2 changes in defence from that first game of today's episode. Kamara does come in for Saliba, and also Tierney for Coop Miners. Of course, it is Saliba, who is probably the most unpredicted change in that one. He is quite tired and quite injury prone. There are Juventus, a decent looking lineup, but as I said earlier, not quite sure if they quite have the same squad depth as us, and we built up a decent record against Van Nistelrooy when we were at Cardiff, and he was at Man United as well as Tottenham. So hopefully that continues here while we're at Arsenal, and he is at Juventus. And it's only taken 2 minutes for the first highlight of this game. It is a throw-in to Juventus in the All Black, and it is Neves here who plays this one up for Rooney. And Chiesa here, good early chance to get in behind, albeit we recover well. And nice work there from Coop Miners to win that ball back. Now Odegaard plays this one up to Trincao. Still in there is, of course, Martinelli, also quite injury prone, so he might get a fair bit of football this season if that is going to be a persistent issue. Now Kieran Tierney back in the team today, having recovered from his injury somewhat fully, puts the ball there in the mixer. They do head that one away, Juventus, but Pelé wins that one in the air. Now Saka, from a tight angle, tries to square that one for Jesus. We do end up giving the ball away, but now Odegaard is in possession. Singo again has the ball here on the edge of the box. Coop Miners to his midfield partner in Pereira. What a first goal that is in the Champions League and for the club from Moise Pereira, first signing here at Arsenal, and that is an absolute stunner into that top left corner, and hopefully gets us back on track after what was a very iffy performance against Tottenham in that previous game. That is a brilliant strike, and we take a nice early 1-0 lead in this one. And off the back of that, we do get shown the restart, so hopefully Juventus do not pick up an instant reply in this one. Locatelli tries to play that one over the top, but thankfully Kamara wins that one, plays it forward to Saka, and now we start to make our way out from the back. Again, Singo in position here down this right-hand side. Nice little back flick there for Saka. Now Odegaard puts that top left corner, and that is a brilliant start. 2 goals inside the first 5 minutes, and that is a dream start here at the Emirates. It was a very good back flick there, I think it was, from Singo. We'll get a good look at it from this angle. It was kind of like a side foot roll, actually, playing that over to Saka, and Odegaard puts that one top left corner. It's a brilliant start, 2 early goals, and we go 2-0 up. And on the 20-minute mark, we get our next tile on this one. Juventus are trying to head that ball away, but we do win it back in play here. The goal scorer, that screamer of a first goal, gives that one now to Kieran Tierney. Makes his way just on the edge of the byline, tries to find Saka there inside the box, but the ball does get headed out to Coop Miners. It's a poor pass there, though, from Singo, and Locatelli with a chance to do something on the counter-attack. Thankfully, Singo does intervene somewhat with that header, but Juventus do still keep the ball, but then Saka wins it back. We'll pick out Trincao there, will Gabriel Jesus, but unfortunately does lose possession, and Juventus get a chance here to try and make their way upfield. Ruben Neves, of course, the former Wolves man. Nice ball over there for Samu, I believe that was. Big chance, but thankfully does not hit the target, and we are still 2-0 up. And very shortly off the back of that previous highlights, a dangerous area for a free kick here for Juventus. Chiesa tries to put that one top right corner, to be fair. Never really looked like it was going to dip enough, and just shy of the half-hour mark, still 2-0 Arsenal. And nearly inside the last 5 minutes of this first half, we were in possession yet again, but Coop Miners with a poor pass there. The second one today from one of our players in Chiesa starts to make his way inside the box. Good chance there, but thankfully just puts that one over the bar, and we still hold a 2-0 lead just shy of half-time. And that is half-time in the second game of our Champions League phase for this first season here at Arsenal. As you can see, playing a lot better than we were in that Tottenham game. 2 early goals to Pelé and to Ødegaard does mean we go into half-time with a 2-0 lead. So very happy with how this one is going now. Singo has picked up a yellow card. What we are going to do is bring on Zinchenko for him, and Kieran Tierney can actually cover right back, so we'll put him out there for the second half. But apart from that, pretty happy with how this one is going at the moment. We'll get things back underway with that 2-0 lead and hopefully pick up our first 3 points in the competition this season. And 5 minutes into the second half, it's an early highlight here potentially in favour of Juventus, as they do have a throw-in just inside of our half. Bellanova here was trying to make his way down their right-hand side, but Ødegaard does some good work. Perret plays that one back to Bamba, goes all the way back to Ramsdale, gets it straight back, and it looks like we might try and do something here down this left-hand side. Zinchenko on the ball, plays that one forward for Trincao, cutting inside, now switches out to Kieran Tierney in the second half, out on that right-hand side. Holds things up now. Koopmeiners back in for Pelé. Now Tierney puts that one in for Bukayo Saka. Rockets that one top left corner. That seems to be our preferred corner in this game. And surely 3-0 up, and that should mean all 3 points in this one. With 40 minutes left, it's another good start to a half. Some good short passing. Kieran Tierney finds Saka inside the box. I think the goalkeeper there, a little bit obstructed by that defender, but still, it's a good finish to put us 3-0 up early in the second half. And at the 65-minute mark, we're going to make some substitutions in this one. No highlights apart from that early goal to Saka in the second half, but I do feel like we've got this game fairly well under control, so we'll take off some players who did come into this one a little bit more tired than some others did. Jesus not playing that well. Barrea can come on for him. Also, we'll take off Ødegaard for Fabio Vieira. Bukayo Saka can come off today, playing quite well, but Carvalho will come on for him. And with our last substitution, we can bring on Patino for Perret, having scored that brilliant goal to open up things here very early in this one. That'll be all our subs used. With 25 minutes left, still 3-0 up. And just about to enter injury time in this one. It's been a very quiet second half, but to be fair, we did the damage early in that first half, and then with that early goal through Bukayo Saka as well. And in the end, a very comfortable 3-0 win there over Juventus, who failed to get a single shot on target. They did get some decent chances, but that was our best performance in a little while. Certainly a lot better than what we did put out against Tottenham in that first game of today's episode, but a very solid win. And thankfully, it does mean we have 3 points from those tricky first 2 games that we did have in the Champions League this season. And from here, we do get some much easier fixtures in our next 2 games, taking on the likes of Upperwell and Copenhagen, I believe. And I think we should pick up the maximum points from those, and that should hopefully get us inside that top 8, so we can skip the first round of knockout football in the Champions League after this league phase does finish. But thankfully, we bounce back from that loss to Bayern Munich and pick up a fairly comfortable 3-0 win there over Juventus. And unfortunately, just spotted there as well, Cardiff losing to Ajax. And back in the inbox off the back of those 2 games in today's episode, a pretty scratchy performance first up in the Premier League against Tottenham, dropping our first points this season, albeit we did still have a chance late to pick up all 3 points in that one, but did concede thanks to Blimmin Emre Tezgil. But a lot better there in the Champions League, picking up that 3-0 win over Juventus. And as you saw before, it does mean we have snuck our way pretty close to being inside that top 8. And with our next couple of games in that competition, against Upperwell and Copenhagen, hopefully we'll be in a good spot heading into those more difficult games against Real Sociedad and Dortmund to end the 2029 year before we do take on Bodo Glimt and Celtic in January, which should be 2 games at home, which we do win, but we should certainly be making our way through to the knockouts in some capacity. Hopefully can finish inside that top 8 and make sure that we do skip that first knockout round for those teams who do finish in between 8th and 24th. And also, we are still joint on top of the Premier League table. We have dropped behind Man City thanks to goal differential, but certainly in a pretty good position for a team that is only expecting to finish in one of those Champions League qualifying spots. But that will do it for today's episode. As I said, scratchy performance in the North London derby, but a lot better against Juventus in the Champions League. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. And until I see you tomorrow for what will probably be our next 2 games on the schedule, as Aston Villa have started off the Premier League season very well, so I think we'll come back and show you guys that game, as well as taking on a struggling Manchester United in the Premier League, because that is a little bit of a rivalry. So we'll come back and pick up right where we left off at the end of today's episode tomorrow. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.